What's up guys, Matt here at MKS Performance. Like I said earlier in the previous video, we were going to go into more depth on each process or each step of our blueprinted motor that we're building for the customer. So, as you can see, we have the crankshaft is already in. We already obviously have the bearings are in on the block end, and now we need to measure the oil clearances. Now, by doing that, we typically use plastic gauge. Now, plastic gauge is just a roll of plasticine. When it is squashed, it squashes to a certain size, and then you match up, should I say, the squash. So we've already done that to main number 1. So this is the front of the engine where the damper is. So this one's already been done, but the one next to it, main number 2, has not been done. So you cut it to the length of the journal, and then you use the old bolts to torque down the cap. We use the old ones because they're going in the bucket anyway. So it's 30 Newton meters plus half a turn, and then we back them off, wiggle the cap off, and then you compare the squash with the gauge. So we get our gauge. Now careful, they are metric and imperial. So we have millimeters. That's what we're after. Now I know that already. It's not any of these, not any of these, not any of these. Ooh, what we got here? 0.050 millimeters is our oil clearance, and I'm happy enough with that. It's well within service specs. Now we typically open up oil clearances on the crankshaft when we're doing really power builds. Now this one's obviously, it's only 300 horsepower, it's only supercharged, it doesn't carry the same kind of characteristics and stress that a turbocharged engine would, and the customer sticks to a budget. But the rule of thumb, for every inch of bearing journal you have on your crankshaft, you add 1 thou of clearance. There's a phrase in the motorsport world: loose is fast. So loose bearing clearances make a fast engine. But that's just a little quick insight into measuring your oil clearances on the crankshaft. When you do the big ends, it's very much, well, it's identical. Some crankshafts have a different spec for the big ends versus the mains, so it's always wary to double check your specs before you go in. I mean, we have spec sheets, we double check everything. Calculator, we don't use, we don't try and work it out in our head. We let the calculator do that for us, and then we'll do the sum again to make sure we're correct. You only get one chance at building an engine right, so you may as well do it the first time. So, like I said, we'll go into a bit more depth in other videos. So we'll look at the big ends, and then we'll look at the piston rings, the gapping, the orientation. I won't go into, we run custom clearances on our ring gaps, so I won't go into what sizes we use, but obviously with the more heat you get into a cylinder, more pressures, the bigger the gap you need to run on your piston rings. If you get the gap too small, they will butt up and they will split the piston in half and then eject, should I say, the con rod through the block, and then that's a really bad day. So stay tuned guys, cheers.